The last person I expected to see crying at Grandma's funeral was my sister Michaela. She hadn't shed a tear when Grandma was actually suffering in the hospital, too busy with her important meetings to visit more than twice in 3 months. But there she was, sobbing dramatically into a pristine white handkerchief, while everyone patted her back and whispered words of comfort. I'm Michelle, and I used to think I knew my sister. Now I'm not so sure about anything anymore. She was so proud of you both, Mom whispered, squeezing my hand while giving Michaela another concerned look. Remember how she always said her girls would change the world? I nodded, my throat tight. Grandma had been my biggest supporter when I shared my dream of opening a women's empowerment center. We'll help them find their voice, I'd told her, and she'd smiled that warm, knowing smile of hers. That's exactly what this world needs, sweetheart, she'd said, before telling me about the inheritance she'd set aside to help make it happen. Michelle? Michaela's voice cracked as she approached me after the service. Can we talk? I followed her to a quiet corner of the church garden where the February wind whipped at our black dresses. Something felt off about the way she kept glancing around, like she was checking if anyone was watching. I need to tell you something, she said, wringing her hands. I've been keeping it from everyone, but I'm sick, Michelle, really sick. My heart stopped for a moment. What do you mean, sick? The doctors found something. They're not sure what it is yet, but the treatments? She paused, dabbing at her eyes. They're expensive, so expensive. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. I didn't want to worry anyone, but now, with Grandma gone, she looked at me with those big brown eyes that used to convince me to cover for her sneaking out as teenagers. I know she left you money for your center, but I need help. I don't know what else to do. Before I could respond, my cousin Grayson appeared. Everything okay here? Michaela quickly straightened up. Just sister stuff. We should get back inside. As she walked away, Grayson caught my arm. You look like you've seen a ghost. She says she's sick, I muttered, watching Michaela rejoin the crowd inside, already surrounded by concerned relatives. Says she needs money for treatments. Grayson's expression darkened. Convenient timing. What do you mean? Come on, Michelle. You just inherited enough to make your dream project happen, and suddenly she's got mysterious medical bills? I wanted to defend her, but something nagged at me. Last week, Michaela had posted Instagram stories from a ski trip. She'd looked perfectly healthy carving down black diamond slopes. Ladies, Mom called from the church steps. We're about to start the reception. Inside, I watched Michaela work the room like a politician at a fundraiser. Every conversation ended with concerned looks and gentle touches on her shoulder. Our family friend Denise was already wiping tears after their brief chat. Poor thing, Denise said as she passed me. To be dealing with this right after losing her grandmother. Life can be so cruel. Riley, my best friend since college, nudged me. Your sister's quite the actress today. Riley, I warned, but she pressed on. I'm just saying, remember when she faked mono to get out of your dad's wedding to Sandra? She's got a history. I did remember, just like I remembered the stolen car she'd actually crashed and the lost necklace she'd pawned. But this was different. This was serious, wasn't it? Later, as people started leaving, I found Michaela in Grandma's study, holding the framed photo of us as kids at the lake house. Remember how she used to make us hot chocolate with tiny marshmallows? She asked, not turning around. And tell us stories about her adventures as a young nurse, I added, feeling the familiar ache of loss. I miss her so much. Michaela's voice wavered. I wish I had more time. The way she emphasized time made my skin crawl. Was I being paranoid, or was she playing me like she'd played everyone else today? Whatever you need, I heard myself say. I'm here for you. She turned then, eyes shining with what I desperately wanted to believe were genuine tears. You always were the good sister. As I hugged her, I caught our reflection in Grandma's old mirror. Michaela's eyes were open, dry, and focused, calculating something I couldn't quite understand. In that moment, standing in our grandmother's study with the weight of her inheritance between us, I felt something shift. The sister I thought I knew was becoming a stranger, and I had no idea how far she would go to get what she wanted. 2 weeks after the funeral, Mom called a family meeting. I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into her kitchen and saw Michaela sitting at the table, dressed in oversized sweats, looking pale and drawn. She'd clearly mastered the art of appearing ill. Honey, sit down, Mom said, her voice gentle in that way that always preceded bad news. We need to talk about the inheritance. I gripped the back of a chair. What about it? Your sister's condition. Mom glanced at Michaela, who stared down at her untouched tea. The specialists think they've identified it. The treatment plan is extensive and expensive, Michaela added softly. Really expensive. How expensive? I asked. The full course would cost almost exactly what Grandma left you. Of course it would. I've talked to Hassan, Mom continued, referring to our family lawyer. He says we can transfer the inheritance if you agree. It would need to be voluntary, of course. My hands started shaking. Can I see the medical reports? Michelle, Mom looked scandalized. Your sister is fighting for her life and you're asking for paperwork? Michaela burst into tears. I knew she wouldn't believe me. She thinks I'm lying, just like always. No, that's not, I started, but Mom was already around the table, comforting Michaela. Shh, sweetie, it's okay. Michelle's just processing. Mom shot me a disappointed look over Michaela's shoulder. She'll do the right thing. The right thing. The words echoed in my head as I drove to Riley's apartment an hour later. She opened the door, one look at my face, and pulled me inside. Spill, she demanded, pushing a glass of wine into my hand. I told her everything. The medical bills, Mom's pressure, the guilt trip. Has anyone actually seen these doctors? Riley asked. Gone to appointments with her? She says she wants to handle it privately. Mom's respecting her wishes. How convenient. Riley pulled out her laptop. What's the name of this specialist? Dr. Andrews at Metropolitan Hospital. I took another sip of wine. But she won't let anyone. Got it. Riley turned the screen toward me. Dr. Andrews retired 3 months ago. My stomach dropped. Maybe she meant a different Dr. Andrews? Stop making excuses for her, Riley snapped. Your sister is scamming you and you know it. My phone buzzed. A text from Denise. Just heard about Michaela's diagnosis. Praying for her. You're such a good sister for helping. She's already spreading it around, I muttered. Of course she is. She's making sure everyone knows what a saint she is and what a monster you'll be if you don't give her the money. I slumped back on Riley's couch. What am I supposed to do? If I'm wrong, I'm denying my dying sister treatment. If I'm right, then she's stealing your dream and manipulating everyone you love. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Grayson. Need to talk. Meet me at Joe's Coffee tomorrow? Important. The next morning, Grayson was already waiting when I arrived. He pushed a folder across the table. What's this? Credit card statements, he said quietly. Michaela's been using the company card for personal expenses. I noticed some weird charges, did some digging. I flipped through the pages. Spa treatments, designer shopping, first-class flights to Vegas. Look at the dates, Grayson pointed. All these charges are from the past 2 weeks, when she was supposedly too sick to leave her apartment. She'll say it was retail therapy, I said, coping with her diagnosis. Stop it. Grayson leaned forward. You know what's happening here. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Before I could answer, the cafe door chimed. Michaela walked in, wearing full makeup and designer workout gear, laughing with someone on her phone. When she spotted us, she immediately hunched over and started coughing. Michelle? Grayson? She shuffled over, her voice suddenly weak. I didn't expect. I was just getting tea for my throat. Weren't you supposed to be at treatment this morning? I asked, watching her face carefully. Oh, they rescheduled. I was too weak. She coughed again, but I noticed she covered her mouth with her right hand. Michaela always used her left hand when she was actually sick, a habit from childhood. Right, I said, sliding Grayson's folder into my bag. Feel better. As soon as she left, Grayson raised an eyebrow. Still having doubts? I shook my head, feeling something hard and cold settle in my chest. No, but I need proof, real proof that everyone will believe. Then let's get it, Grayson said, pulling out his phone. I have some ideas. For the first time since the funeral, I felt a spark of hope. My sister might be playing chess, but she'd forgotten one important thing. I was the one who taught her how to play. You need to document everything, Riley said, spreading papers across her dining room table. Every inconsistency, every lie, every time she slips up. I nodded, already scrolling through Michaela's social media. Look at this. She posted about a spinning class yesterday, then deleted it an hour later. Screenshot it, Grayson said, typing on his laptop. I'm creating a shared drive for all the evidence. We'd turned Riley's apartment into our investigation headquarters. Takeout containers littered the coffee table, and a whiteboard covered in timeline notes stood in the corner. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Michelle, Michaela's really struggling today. Could you bring over some soup? Perfect opportunity, Riley said, grabbing her car keys. I'll follow her after you leave. The soup routine had become familiar over the past week. I'd bring it over. Michaela would barely touch it, then post about her amazing sister on Facebook once I left. When I arrived at her apartment, Michaela answered the door in a bathrobe, hair artfully messy. You're an angel, she croaked, taking the soup. How was your appointment yesterday? I asked innocently. Brutal. The new medication makes me so dizzy. She slumped onto her couch. I could barely walk afterward. That must be hard, I said, thinking of the spinning class post. Want me to stay? No, you've done enough. She coughed delicately. I just need rest. As I left, I texted Riley. She's all yours. 3 hours later, Riley sent a video to our group chat. It showed Michaela, perfectly healthy looking, having lunch with a man at an upscale restaurant downtown. Who's that with her? Grayson asked when we reconvened that evening. Working on it, Riley said, zooming in on the photo. But look what she's eating, a huge plate of seafood. Wasn't she just telling your mom she couldn't keep anything down? My phone lit up with a text from Denise. Just dropped off some meals for Michaela. Poor thing can barely eat soup. We're all so worried. She's playing everyone perfectly, I muttered. Not everyone, Grayson corrected. Hassan called me back. He's willing to meet tomorrow. The family lawyer's office felt colder than I remembered. Hassan adjusted his glasses as he reviewed the documentation we'd gathered. These credit card statements are concerning, he said, but they're not proof of fraud. What about this? I pulled out my phone, showing him Michaela's medical bills. The hospital logo is wrong. They changed it last year. Hassan leaned forward. Now that's interesting. Have you verified these treatments with the hospital? They can't find any record of her as a patient. Because of privacy laws, Hassan mused. They can't tell us if she is a patient, but they can tell us if she isn't one. Exactly. He sat back, fingers steepled. You understand what you're suggesting? This isn't just about the inheritance anymore. This is fraud. I know. My voice was steady. That's why I need your help. You'll need more than this. Bank statements, witnesses, concrete proof of deception. Already working on it, I said, thinking of Riley tailing Michaela. But I need you to stall the inheritance transfer. I can delay it for 2 weeks, citing procedural reviews. He paused. Be careful, Michelle. If you're wrong about this, I'm not. Later that night, my phone rang. Mom. Michaela's in the hospital, she said, her voice shaking. She collapsed at home. My heart stopped. Which hospital? Metropolitan. She's asking for you. I grabbed my keys, then stopped. Metropolitan, the same hospital where her fake Dr. Andrews supposedly worked. I'll be there soon, I said, already dialing Riley. On it, she answered before I could speak. I'm parked outside her apartment. She never left, Michelle. She's watching TV right now. I closed my eyes, feeling sick. Mom thinks she's in the hospital. Want me to send you a photo? No, I said, an idea forming. I'm going to the hospital. I need to see how deep this lie goes. At Metropolitan's emergency room, I approached the desk. I'm looking for my sister, Michaela. She was admitted tonight. The nurse checked her computer. I'm sorry, we don't have anyone by that name. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Never mind, false alarm. She's feeling better. Such a relief. I showed Riley the text when I met her outside Michaela's apartment building. She's getting sloppy, Riley said, nodding toward the window where we could see Michaela's silhouette moving around. She didn't expect you to actually go to the hospital. No, I agreed, watching my sister's shadow dance across the curtains, healthy and active. She didn't expect a lot of things. Ready for the next step? I thought about Grandma, about the Women's Center, about all the lives that could be changed with that money. More than ready, Riley smiled grimly. Then let's see who she's been meeting with. The mysterious man from the restaurant turned out to be easier to track down than we expected. Riley spotted him entering a small office building downtown, and one quick search of the directory gave us a name. Marcus Thompson, insurance claims specialist. Look at this, Grayson said, pointing to his laptop screen. He specializes in facilitating complex medical claims. You mean insurance fraud, Riley corrected, peering over his shoulder. We were camped out in my car across from Marcus's office, waiting for Michaela to show up for her scheduled appointment. Riley had overheard her making it while tailing her at the coffee shop. There, I whispered, pointing at my sister's distinctive red coat. She walked confidently, no sign of the weakness she'd displayed at Mom's house yesterday. Got the camera ready? Grayson asked. I nodded, adjusting the zoom lens. Through it, I watched Michaela greet Marcus with a hug that lasted a beat too long. They disappeared inside together. I'm going in, Riley announced, grabbing her briefcase. We'd prepared for this. She had a fake appointment scheduled with another office in the building. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Riley, you're not gonna believe this. They're in the conference room next door. Thin walls. Me, what are they saying? Riley, something about backdating medical records. He's charging her 15%. My hands shook as I typed. Recording? Riley, voice memo running. Grayson whistled low. That's conspiracy to commit fraud. Real fraud, not just family manipulation. An hour later, Michaela emerged alone, looking pleased. She checked her reflection in a window, then pulled out her phone. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. Michaela, bad day. Treatment really took it out of me. Could you tell Mom I need to skip dinner tonight? I showed Grayson the text. She's getting sloppy. No, he said, watching her stride toward her car. She's getting confident. That evening, I met Hassan at his office, playing him Riley's recording. Just need the documents to look authentic enough to convince the lawyer, Michaela's voice said clearly. Once the money transfers, it won't matter. This is serious, Hassan said, stopping the playback. Beyond family drama serious. This is criminal. I know, I took a deep breath. What's our next move? We gather more evidence, bank records, more recordings, photographs. Build an airtight case. And then we confront her, but carefully. People caught in lies this big can become desperate. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a group text from Mom. Family dinner tomorrow. Non-negotiable. Michaela has news. When I got home, I found an envelope had been slipped under my door. Inside was a USB drive and a note. Thought you should see this? I plugged it into my laptop. A video played. Security footage from Metropolitan Hospital's parking garage. It showed Michaela meeting Marcus 3 weeks ago, before she'd ever claimed to be sick. I called Denise immediately. How did you get this? I work in hospital administration, remember? She sounded tired. I saw her that day, but she didn't see me. When I started hearing about her mysterious illness, something felt wrong. Why didn't you say anything sooner? Would anyone have believed me over her tears? She paused. But I saw her at the mall yesterday, shopping for hours. No sick person could do that. I added the footage to our evidence drive, then called Riley and Grayson for an emergency meeting. She's planning something, Riley said, pacing my living room. Why else demand a family dinner? To pressure me about the inheritance, I said. Hassan's delays are making her nervous. Or to announce a miracle recovery, Grayson suggested. Get the money and disappear. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Michaela. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, sis. Wearing the necklace Grandma left you? I touched the pendant at my throat. Grandma's prized opal, worth almost as much as the inheritance itself. That's it, I said, showing them the text. She's not just after the inheritance anymore. She wants everything. So what do we do? Riley asked. I looked at the evidence we'd gathered. The fake medical bills, the recordings, the security footage, the credit card statements. Then at Grandma's photo on my mantel, her kind eyes seeming to watch us. We let her think she's winning, I said slowly. We go to dinner tomorrow. We play along. And then, Grayson prompted, and then we show everyone exactly who my sister really is. As they left that night, I sat alone with Grandma's necklace, wondering if she'd somehow known this would happen. She'd always said Michaela's greed would be her downfall. Tomorrow, we'd find out if she was right. The family dinner felt like walking into a trap, but for once, I knew where all the tripwires were. Mom had outdone herself with the setup. Candles, fancy plates, Grandma's old tablecloth, perfect for Michaela's performance. You're wearing the necklace, Michaela said when I arrived, her eyes lingering on the opal. She looked worse than ever. Dark circles carefully applied under her eyes, clothes hanging loose. It's beautiful. Grandma wanted me to have it, I replied, watching her face twitch. Girls, Mom called from the kitchen, come help with the salad. As we worked, Michaela's phone buzzed repeatedly. She checked it nervously each time. Everything okay? I asked innocently. Just the hospital, test results. She coughed into her sleeve. Nothing to worry about. My phone vibrated in my pocket, a text from Riley. Marcus just left his office, heading your way. Right on schedule. Michelle, Mom said, touching my arm, could you run to the store? We're out of dressing. I'll go, Michaela offered quickly. I need some air anyway. You're not well enough, Mom protested. It's just around the corner. The walk might help. I pretended to check my phone. Actually, I have to make a quick call anyway. Work emergency. I'll get the dressing on my way back. Outside, I slipped into Grayson's car, parked down the street. Through his telephoto lens, we watched Michaela hurry around the corner to where Marcus waited in his BMW. Got it? I asked as Grayson's camera clicked rapidly. Every frame, She's not even trying to be subtle anymore. We followed them to a coffee shop 3 blocks away. Through the window, we could see them arguing, Michaela jabbing her finger at something on her phone. Audio's picking up, Riley said from the back seat, wearing headphones connected to the directional microphone. Something about moving up the timeline. He's saying it's too risky. Michaela stormed out minutes later, leaving Marcus looking worried. She checked her makeup in a window reflection, messed up her hair slightly, and trudged back toward Mom's house. Time to head back, I said, grabbing the salad dressing we'd bought earlier. When I returned, Michaela was slumped at the table, Mom hovering over her. Maybe we should cancel dinner, Mom suggested. No, Michaela insisted. I have something important to tell everyone. My phone buzzed again. Hassan. Documents you requested are ready. Good luck. Throughout dinner, Michaela picked at her food, occasionally pressing her hand to her forehead. Mom kept offering her water, soup, anything she might be able to keep down. Finally, Michaela cleared her throat. I have news about my condition. Here it comes, I thought. The doctors, she paused for effect. They think they've found a treatment, an experimental program in Switzerland. Switzerland? Mom gasped. It's expensive, Michaela continued, eyes downcast. More than we thought, but it's my only chance. How much? I asked, already knowing the answer. With travel, accommodation, the treatment itself. She pulled out a folder of official-looking documents. Just over the amount of the inheritance, and Grandma's necklace could cover the extra expenses. Mom started crying. Michelle, surely. Can I see those documents? I asked calmly. Michaela handed them over, confidence radiating from her. They were good forgeries. Marcus had earned his fee. But Hassan's team had found the template they'd used. Interesting, I said, examining them. The hospital's address is wrong. What? Michaela's face flickered. And they spelled pharmaceutical wrong. Twice. I laid the papers down. Want to try again, Michaela? I don't know what you're talking about. But her voice shook slightly. Michelle, Mom warned, your sister is sick. No, Mom, she's not. I pulled out my phone. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's talk about her meeting with Marcus Thompson 30 minutes ago. Michaela's face went white. Who? The insurance fraud specialist who's been helping you forge medical documents. I played the audio Riley had recorded. Michaela's voice filled the room, discussing fake medical records and money transfers. That's not what it sounds like, Michaela stammered. Then what about this? I pulled out more photos, Michaela at the spa, at restaurants, at the gym, all dated during her supposed worst days. Mom stared at the evidence, her hands shaking. Michaela? They're lying, Michaela said, but her voice was weak. They're all lying. One more thing, I said, pulling out my final piece of evidence. Remember that hospital visit last week when you supposedly collapsed? Michaela's eyes darted to the door. Funny thing about hospital security cameras, I continued. They catch everything, or in your case, nothing, because you were never there. The silence that followed was deafening. And somewhere, I could almost hear Grandma saying, the truth always finds its way home. Michaela's mask cracked. The vulnerable patient vanished, replaced by something cold and hard. You've been following me? Did you really think I wouldn't investigate? I kept my voice steady. After all your past lies? Girls, please, Mom whispered, still staring at the photos spread across her dining table. There must be some explanation. Oh, there is, I said, pulling out my laptop. Denise, are you there? Denise's face appeared on screen. We'd set up the video call earlier. I'm here, and I have the hospital records pulled up. This is ridiculous, Michaela snapped, standing up. I'm not going to sit here and sit, Down. Mom's voice cut through the room like steel. I'd never heard her sound like that before. Michaela sat. Denise, I continued, can you confirm whether Michaela has ever been treated at Metropolitan Hospital? I can confirm that no patient under the name Michaela Jensen has received any treatment here in the past year. That's because I used a different name, Michaela tried. Really? I raised an eyebrow. What name? She opened her mouth, then closed it. And what about Dr. Andrews? I pressed. The specialist you claimed was treating you? Dr. Andrews retired last year, Denise said. He hasn't seen patients in months. Mom's hands were shaking as she picked up one of the photos. Michaela laughing over cocktails at a rooftop bar last week when she'd claimed to be bedridden. Why? Mom's voice cracked. Why would you do this? Because she's always been jealous, I said quietly. Haven't you, Michaela? Jealous that Grandma left the money to me instead of you. Jealous? Michaela laughed bitterly. Of your little charity project? Please, I had bigger plans for that money. Like what? I asked, though I already knew. Investment opportunities, real business ventures, not some feel-good women's center that'll never turn a profit. It wasn't about profit, Mom said. Your grandmother wanted... Grandmother was a fool, Michaela shouted, finally losing control. She had all that money, and what did she do with it? Gave it to Michelle and her stupid dreams instead of someone who could make it grow. The room fell silent. Even Michaela seemed shocked by her outburst. I have one more call to make, I said, dialing my phone. Hassan? Our lawyer's voice filled the room via speakerphone. I'm here, and I have Marcus Thompson with me. Michaela went pale. Mr. Thompson has been very cooperative, Hassan continued. He's provided quite detailed information about your arrangement. You can't prove anything, Michaela said, but her voice wavered. Actually, we can. Hassan's tone was grim. Insurance fraud is a serious crime, Michaela, not to mention the forged medical documents, the attempted theft through deception. Theft? She laughed desperately. It's family money. It's my money, I corrected, left to me legally by Grandma. Money you tried to steal by faking a terminal illness. I needed it more than you. Michaela's composure shattered completely. You have no idea what it's like watching you get everything handed to you. The necklace, the inheritance, Mom and Grandma's approval, all of it. Handed to me? I stood up, anger finally breaking through. I worked for everything I have. I earned Grandma's trust. I built my dreams while you were busy scheming and lying. Girls, Mom's sharp voice cut through again. She looked decades older than she had at the start of dinner. Michaela, tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't fake being sick for money. Michaela's silence was answer enough. Hassan, I said quietly, what are our options? Given the evidence, we could pursue criminal charges. He paused. Or we could handle this privately, with strict conditions. Mom looked at me pleadingly. Despite everything, Michaela was still her daughter. What conditions? Michaela asked, suddenly sounding very small. Full confession, written apology. You'll repay every cent people donated to help with your treatment, and you'll get professional help. And if I refuse, then I send everything to the district attorney, Hassan said simply. Your choice. Michaela looked around the room, at the evidence of her lies scattered across the table, at Mom's tears, at my unwavering stare. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. I'll need those documents tonight, Hassan added. I have them prepared. Mr. Thompson has already signed his statement. Michaela slumped in her chair, finally defeated. Fine, I'll sign. Good, I said, standing up, because there's one more thing we need to discuss. I pulled out one final folder, the plans for my Women's Empowerment Center. The dreams Michaela had tried to steal weren't just mine. They belonged to every woman who would walk through those doors seeking help, hope, and a chance at a better life. And no one was going to take that away. The next morning, we met at Hassan's office. Michaela sat across from me, looking nothing like the frail patient she'd been pretending to be. Her designer outfit and perfect makeup couldn't hide her defeat. The confession needs to be detailed, Hassan said, sliding papers across his desk. Every lie, every manipulation, every forged document. Michaela picked up the pen, then hesitated. And if I sign this, no charges? Provided you follow all conditions, Hassan confirmed, including therapy and repayment of donations. Those donations were people's goodwill, Mom added from her chair by the window. She hadn't slept. The dark circles under her eyes were real, unlike Michaela's carefully applied ones. Church members, neighbors, friends, they all wanted to help you. I'll pay them back, Michaela muttered. With what money? I asked. The credit card statements show you're already in debt. I'll figure it out. She started writing, her practiced handwriting filling the pages. Riley and Grayson waited outside. They'd helped gather the evidence, and now they were here to witness its conclusion. Through the office window, I could see them talking with Denise, who'd brought the final hospital records. Done, Michaela announced, pushing the confession toward Hassan. He read it carefully, then nodded. Now the apology letters, starting with your family. Michaela's hand shook as she took fresh paper. I don't know what to say. Try the truth, Mom suggested quietly. For once, the pen scratched across paper. Minutes ticked by. Finally, Michaela pushed 3 envelopes across the desk, one for Mom, one for me, and one addressed to Grandma, I'm sorry. The last one's pointless, she said, voice cracking. She's gone. No, I corrected, touching Grandma's opal at my throat. She's watching. She always was. Hassan cleared his throat. There's one more thing, the social media announcement. Michaela's head snapped up. What? You need to confess publicly, I explained. Tell everyone the truth about your illness. I can't, she whispered. They'll hate me. They trusted you, Mom said. They deserve the truth. Hassan handed her a phone. With trembling fingers, Michaela typed out a post, showing it to us before hitting send. I need to confess something. I've been lying to all of you. I was never sick. I manipulated everyone's trust and compassion for financial gain. I'm deeply ashamed and sorry. I'm getting help and will personally repay everyone who donated. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know the truth. The response was immediate. Phones around the room started buzzing with notifications. Denise came in, showing us comments already flooding in. Is this real? I knew something felt off. How could you? My church group raised money for you. Michaela turned away from the screens, tears finally real. What happens now? Now, Hassan said, we discuss your therapy schedule and repayment plan. And the Women's Center? She asked quietly. We'll proceed as Grandma intended, I replied, with the full inheritance. Mom stood up suddenly. I need some air. I followed her into the hallway, where Riley and Grayson immediately enveloped her in a hug. You did the right thing, Riley assured her. Both of you. Did we? Mom looked through the office window at Michaela, who sat alone, staring at her phone as the comments continued pouring in. Where did I go wrong with her? You didn't, I said firmly. She made her choices. Denise joined us, holding up her tablet. The hospital board reviewed everything. They want to partner with your Women's Center, Michelle. Offer health services. Really? They're impressed with how you handled this. Said it shows integrity and leadership. Inside the office, we could see Michaela signing more documents. Therapy agreements, payment schedules, legal declarations. The sophisticated facade had crumbled completely, leaving only my sister, flawed, broken, but maybe finally honest. Michelle, Hassan called. We need you for the final signatures. As I walked back in, Michaela looked up. For a moment, I saw a flash of the sister I used to know. The one who helped me learn to ride a bike, who defended me from bullies in middle school. I really messed up, she whispered. Yes, I agreed, sitting down. You did. Can we ever? I don't know, I said honestly. That depends on what you do next. Hassan pushed the final paper forward, the official inheritance confirmation, ensuring the money would go to the Women's Center as Grandma intended. As I signed, I felt a familiar warmth, like Grandma's hand on my shoulder. She'd always said that true strength isn't about getting what you want, it's about doing what's right, even when it hurts. Looking at my sister across the desk, I realized this was just the beginning of a different kind of healing, one that no fake medical treatment could provide. The ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Women's Center felt surreal. Denise had helped arrange for local media coverage, and a crowd gathered outside the renovated downtown building. The sign above the door read, Jensen Women's Empowerment Center, in elegant gold letters. Grandma would have loved this, Mom whispered, squeezing my hand. She does love it, I corrected, touching the opal necklace that had become my good luck charm. She's here. Riley appeared with a stack of programs. Channel 4 wants an interview before the ceremony. Is she coming? Mom asked quietly. I shook my head. Michaela had declined the invitation, but she'd sent a card. Make Grandma proud. I know you will. The therapy sessions were working, slowly. Last week, she'd handed over her final repayment check to the church group that had fundraised for her. Small steps, but honest ones. Michelle, Hassan called from the entrance. They're ready. The ceremony itself passed in a blur of speeches and applause. I talked about Grandma's vision, about empowering women to chase their dreams, about second chances and healing. The hospital board announced their partnership, and Denise revealed the free health clinic we'd be opening in the East Wing. As I cut the ribbon, something caught my eye. Across the street, partially hidden behind a tree, stood Michaela. She wasn't dressed for attention, just jeans and a simple sweater. When our eyes met, she gave a small nod. Want me to get rid of her? Riley asked, noticing my distraction. No, I said. Let her stay. During the reception, I gave tours of the facility, the computer lab where we'd offer job training, the daycare center for working mothers, the counseling offices, the health clinic. Each room represented a chance for someone to change their life. Excuse me? A young woman approached, clutching a folder. I saw the news about your sister, about what happened. I tensed, preparing for criticism. It made me realize I'm not alone, she continued. My brother did something similar to our family. I've been afraid to talk about it, but seeing how you handled it, she gestured at the center. You turned pain into purpose. Could I volunteer here? Before I could answer, Mom appeared. We'd love to have you. I'm running the volunteer program. As they walked away talking, Grayson touched my arm. Someone else wants to see you. In my new office, the one with Grandma's photo on the desk, Michaela waited. Nice suit, she said awkwardly. Very executive director. Thanks, I sat down. Didn't expect to see you here. Wasn't sure I'd come. She picked up Grandma's photo. But she'd want me to. How's therapy? Hard, good. She set the photo down carefully. Dr. Patterson says I need to face the consequences of my actions. Being here, seeing what you've built, that's part of it. And the repayments? Final check cleared yesterday. She managed a small smile. Turns out selling designer bags pays well. We sat in silence for a moment, the sounds of the reception floating up from downstairs. I saw the website. she said finally. The section about financial literacy and business planning for women entrepreneurs. That's really smart. We're still looking for instructors, I said carefully. People with real-world business experience, even negative experience can be valuable if you learn from it. Michaela's eyes widened slightly. Are you offering? Not yet, I cut in. You need to finish therapy first, rebuild trust. But maybe someday, if you're ready? She nodded, understanding. Thank you for not pressing charges, for giving me a chance to fix things. That's what this place is about, I said, gesturing around us. Second chances, growth, healing. A knock at the door, Mom holding 3 cups of coffee. Thought we could use these. As she handed them out, I noticed her hands weren't shaking anymore. The dark circles had faded. Healing was happening for all of us. To Grandma, Mom said, raising her cup. And to her girls. We drank together, and for a moment I felt that familiar warmth again. Grandma had known all along, known that sometimes the greatest gifts come wrapped in the hardest lessons. Downstairs, the reception continued. Women networked, shared stories, signed up for programs, each one carrying their own dreams, their own battles, their own hope for transformation. I should go, Michaela said, standing. But Michelle, I'm proud of you, really. As she left, I looked at Grandma's photo again. The center wasn't just about empowering others. It was proof that even the deepest wounds could become foundations for something beautiful. Outside my office window, the golden letters caught the sunlight. Jensen Women's Empowerment Center. A place of second chances, built on truth, strengthened by forgiveness, and guided by love. Just as Grandma would have wanted.